frame from the left as a fast streak. When it hits around about 20-25 seconds, the missile appears to bounce off, deflect without detonating, which causes some debris or fragments to scatter. The object falls slightly, tumbles, and then sheds, or some smaller pieces appear to come out of it. It maintains its trajectory and continues flying. It lasts about 50 seconds and ends without showing the object's final fate. And it's basically, the big question is this anomalous? I think it's unusual that a Hellfire missile, which is, a massive missile, an incredibly powerful missile, could hit an object and it observes the kinetic energy in a particular way, but nothing much happens. Let's talk about the MQ-9 Reaper. It weighs 100 pounds. It's designed for anti-armour ground targets. It's not usually used in an air-to-air role, but that's not unprecedented. One of the speculations is that it might not have been configured for proximity detonation, which could explain the bounce effect. Maybe it grazed or kinetically impacted without full warhead detonation, is what one person's told me. Now, the interesting thing about it is the UAP does appear subsonic. It's not going particularly fast. There's no visible propulsion signatures or invasive nerves. It maintains a straight path pre-impact, tumbles post strike, sheds something, and I guess you could say its behaviour is consistent with some kind of damage. It's not destroyed. Another expert I've spoken to told me that parallax from the drone's movement and low resolution may exaggerate the object's speed or shape, making it appear more war-like at times, but it does look like it's a cylinder. So, is it authentic? So, the best brains I've spoken to have told me it does appear to be authentic military vision. And maybe the Pentagon doesn't want to comment one way or the other because they just don't want to admit the capabilities of the sensor systems of their MQ-9 Reaper drones. Representative Burleson can't say, because he doesn't know where it came from, the origin of the drone. He says he was dead-dropped the video, which means we have no idea of its properties. Moreover, the metadata has been scrubbed to remove classified sensor data. There is an independent review underway, but as you've said, Megan, the Pentagon and US Central Command have declined to comment, and they've not denied its legitimacy, which is significant. It's also significant that no major media outlets have debunked it yet as fabricated. A lot of people are just tying themselves up in knots, arguing about whether it's a real anomalous object or not. My best answer, when I'm basically flummoxed, I go to Billy Kryak. Billy Kryak's got a great Twitter feed site, and Megan, I've sent you the link. So I'm sure Billy would mind if we used a section of his analysis. He's got a great Twitter feed at Billy Kryzak. My apologies, Billy Kryzak. His Twitter feed is called Pro Pixel Video Analysis and Research. And he believes that there is something odd about the object. In the video that he's done, you can actually see what appears to be, but maybe it's a parallax effect, orb-shaped objects coming out of the back of the object after it's hit. They're momentarily sort of moving around, and then they appear to move into a track in parallel behind the slightly hit object as it continues its track. That's not consistent with a balloon, and that's Billy's argument, that this is not consistent with how a balloon would behave. If you hit a balloon with the kinetic energy of a 100-pound Hellfire missile, that balloon would not be there anymore, even though its detonation never happened. So I think we should reserve judgment about whether it is an anomalous object, but certainly there are, according to Billy, anomalous features of the way that object behaves after it's hit. But frankly, it'll take better brains than I to reach a definitive conclusion about whether the explanation is prosaic or not. The fact that it was engaging off Yemen suggests, of course, it might have been some kind of drone balloon. We just don't know. I don't think the balloon explanation washes based on what Billy Prozac has said.
Please, put your head.
And I will play a little clip from Billy's analysis right
What
here.
is it? My husband was cruel and crass, so I left.
All we have to do is look at the kinetic
Divorced
picture,
him.
the kinetic energy involved at the exchange that happens between the Hellfire missile and the object itself. When this thing hits, if this was a balloon, balloons have very little mass, right? They are buoyant, so they just don't weigh that much because they can only weigh as much as the air that it would of the space of the air that it would occupy. So that being said, if this was a balloon, the Hellfire missile would most likely just pass right through it. It would pop or rip it open, and there would be very little deflection of the Hellfire, just because you're not dealing with enough mass to really change the direction of the missile. Not as fast as this happens, right? It's almost instantaneously. It is instantaneously. And then when you look at the object, when it takes the hit from the Hellfire, it's that Hellfire, all the energy in it is transferring into the object, and it really shifts it hard. In fact, it shifts it so hard over that the camera system loses lock on it.
Okay, our next question is coming in from email from Shannon. She's saying, "Hi, Megan and Ross. I had a blast watching the UAP hearing with you two on News Nation. What a hearing. Definitely a win for awareness and transparency. The video of the Hellfire missile bouncing off or maybe just whiffing past the UAP blew me away. But honestly, the bigger surprise for me was this. Why are we even shooting a UAP in the first place? That feels a bit like picking a fight with Mike Tyson just to see what happens. If these things are as advanced as they look, taunting them doesn't exactly seem like a sound strategy. Why is this not a hot topic? Call me crazy, but if it ever comes down to a shuffle, I'm putting my money on Team UAP. Cheers to you both, Jim."
Okay, well, a lot hangs on whether the object was prosaically explainable. Maybe because it was in the Gulf of Yemen, maybe because it was an active war zone. The US warships quite legitimately took the view that this was something that needed to be engaged because it was near US warships and they had full authorization in a war zone to engage any unknown object that did not deviate from its path if advised so by US warships. You can see a possibility here that there is indeed a possible prosaic explanation. But yes, I do think if this object is anomalous, and why the hell are we engaging it? And I think if you've been watching Reality Check, you know that in the past we've raised concern about this because we know Jake Barber in his interview with me in January that the United States in a facility he calls the Range, which is a secure area of military aerospace in the continental United States, there's been collaboration with a private aerospace contractor to down objects that have been summoned, UAPs
Not
that have been
meant to be a wife. I want to find a new purpose. But no one in this video to speak to me. I heard one of the women call me a snob.
HBMs, high pulse microwaves. That's a problem. I don't understand why we are, if these are a non-human intelligence.
Here, a new set of more humble clothes would help you blend in.
Of course. Thank you.
Something that is highly advanced, technologically advanced, and not at that time representing any threat to any US personnel or entity. I guess we just don't know the answer. But yes, I agree with you philosophically. And why on earth would we or should we engage with something non-human in principle if it's not posing any threat? I guess the argument would be we want to retrieve their technology, to be sinister and cynical about it. But I do think it's very sad that if indeed this is a contact with a non-human intelligence, and I owe the witnesses an apology. I went into yesterday's hearing with the expectation that it was going to be a dog and pony show, another complete waste of time where members asked very ill-conceived questions, witnesses were ho-hum. I thought there was some very interesting revelations yesterday at the hearing. I think that it served a very useful purpose. Witnesses who had seen, experienced unusual objects over secure US military facilities were able to give their evidence the way that they did. And I thought George Knapp was an absolute knockout. I've been waiting years to hear the details of his evidence that he obtained from the former Soviet Union. He was the possessor of a massive scoop of documents. I'm looking forward to going through those documents at some stage and seeing what's in them. Yes, it is interesting to hear the details of the 10 years of study that were done by the Soviet Union into the UFO industry. And the fact that the Russians particularly are continuing to take an active interest in this area says an awful lot, and frankly spits in the eye of those who continue to treat this subject matter with contempt. Enough said, I think I really don't have any more to add.
Ray Marvin sent us an email. He's saying, Dear Ross, if the CIA won't allow this subject to be investigated and exposed to the disinfectant of sunshine, then how about the Congress cuts their funding until they do? The same with all SAP silos. Shut off the money for anything that our representatives in Congress don't know what the money is for. Hold out until the agencies come clean. My 2 cents, Marvin.
The chance to dream. My God, that'd be amazing if Congress suddenly developed a spine. For the life of me, and I keep on saying this, and a lot of people who read my comments, they think that I'm very naive. I just keep on citing the US Constitution, which gives Congress the power to oversight all expenditure inside executive government, and that includes the Pentagon and the intelligence community, which we know is expending billions of dollars unaccounted for in its black budgets. I don't know why it's so hard for Congress to stand up and say, guys, you're not getting any money. You're not getting any money at all until we see what's going on. And frankly, it's absolutely inexcusable that, as Eric Burleson and Committee Chair Representative Anna Paulina Luna said on multiple occasions, there's been obstruction by unnamed anonymous staffers along the way to stop the committee from being able to ask questions to call certain witnesses. The fact that security clearances are being denied for witnesses to give evidence. In the Constitution, Congress is sovereign. The government of the people, for the people, by the people. This is such a fundamental concept of American democracy. It was drummed into me at law school as a young student. I think use of the American Constitution is a beautiful document because it makes it very, very clear that power resides in Congress. America right now, executive government is unaccountable. Congress is treated with such by the defense and intelligence community. I think mentioned in the hearing commentary the great work that was done by the Project for Government Oversight, recommending changes in the Supreme Court ruling, which essentially the intelligence community control of the vetting of security clearances for people who give evidence to Congress. There needs to be frankly, Russia's attempt in 2020. The real story is that there's been satisfying by Congress to actually properly monitor and do its job to scrutinise executive power. The Congress is being played. Yes, yesterday's hearing was important. Yes, witnesses gave very important, crucial evidence, but the wrong witnesses are being called. We really do need to hear from the first-hand legacy program witnesses who are there in the to give evidence, but who are not being given adequate protections because the whistleblower disclosure laws are being held up in Congress by corrupt congressional representatives who are taking the coin of the national security complex and basically refusing to pass laws that would adequately protect whistleblowers and give them the power to give evidence in Congress with impunity for intervention by the executive government. This is the issue. The issue here is, are you in America going to allow yourselves to have a situation where anonymous people in the government are attempting to control
Stick to the shadows. I don't want trouble. If the guards see me, they'll kill them.
When the video comes up for discussion, is such a reprehensible act by mainstream media.
Back to business.
We should understand the importance of the separation of powers. Congress has the power to oversight.
Do not beg like cowards.
And as the commentator says, Megan, there really shouldn't be any attempt by executive government. The power is all the wrong way. Who the heck are these people who are basically saying that Congress doesn't have the authority to review parts of government? Look at them. I fully agree, and I think Congress should be turning off the tap. The big question, though, is whether or not they get subpoenaed, whether they get named and shamed, exposed, is whether James Comer, chairman of the Oversight Committee, gives the subcommittee that Anna Paulina Luna is part of, members of, the power to issue these subpoenas. There's a lot of game playing inside Congress, and there's a big question mark over whether Representative Comer is going to give that power to that subcommittee. Will he, for example, I mean, the obvious thing to do would be to subpoena Goodman and Tom Wilson, who's the person whose name in the Davis Wilson documents, which started a speculation about this.
Where is Wada Koretake?
I will die before I say.
So be it.
I'm not afraid of dark.
That's the point. Congress needs deliberate dedication that is constraining this evidence from on the back because officially the government denies any knowledge of extraterrestrial which is patently untrue, and I think it's misleading. My friend Christopher Sharp today on the refusal by the to make the same to non-human intelligence. What's happening here is basically describe action directive, facing emergency action directive, many decades ago, which is being used as the basis of executive government. Over the public's eyes, what Congress needs to do frankly, act like
Our next question from Alex Katz on X. Someone thought they had uncovered the identity of the SES-2 Air Force peacekeeper redacted signal chat hosted by Chris Mellon. What might be a course of action?
Kyonya will be pleased to hear Koretake's location is exposed. We'll need those reinforcements.
Bottom line, if somebody in executive government is coming forward to Christopher Mellon confidentially and offering information that you think you figured out, good, yes, I don't think it's a good idea. Name them. You're certainly
Thank you for freeing us.
Somebody may well be a source, somebody as good as well as pensioned as Christopher Miller, I would strongly suggest treat that with the respect and confidence it deserves. But certainly happy to help you communicate that through to Chris to let him know how you figure that out.
All right, great. We have a comment from Nick. This was posted on our YouTube video from the 3.5-hour marathon hearing that you reacted to yesterday, Ross. Good day from Shell Harbor. Ross and Megan, love your work. It's important and exciting times, and we're grateful to have you and your team on the job. My question is, what follows this closure? Do these UAP and entities know that we know now? And I wonder if it's going to make a difference to them. I can't imagine them just becoming normal.
What follows disclosure? Well, my friend and colleague Bryce Zabel and Richard Dolan wrote a book called After Disclosure, which I recommend to everyone. And they poo-poo a lot of the speculation that there's going to be some kind of apocalyptic collapse of civilization. I think the people who would be most uncomfortable following disclosure would be the national security complex that I think, frankly, are sitting on their knowledge of non-human intelligence purely and simply, I think, because they're covering their behinds. I don't think there is going to be any huge ontological shock for most people following disclosure. I think if the government came out and said, yes, there is a non-human intelligence that's been engaging with this planet for a very, very long time, and yes, we've been able to confirm its existence, and yes, we've been able to retrieve technology and biologics, as David Rush asserts, I think there would be excitement. The public would probably be enthralled with the subject for a while, but I think we'd move on. And certainly I don't see it as inevitable, as a lot of people in the national security establishment suggest to me, that the public outcry would be such that the government then be forced into admitting what technology it has and what weapons it's been able to develop. I think the public are actually quite receptive to the idea that there's certain things that need to be protected on the basis of national security, and that's why unpopularly there does need to be some respect.
hoped we'd meet again. You've been through a lot. Your time in Animus Ego was meant to weaken you. A drip feed of memories to subdue you and to invade your senses. The others before you called it a bleeding effect. And when it has hollowed you out from within, she will claim you. But you're learning how to counteract it. You see the faint glimmers on the darkened path before you. Naoe and Yasuke are long gone from this world. But in these memories, their will to fight burns as a flame. I must go. Find me again.
Kyonyo.
Ah, shitty times. With news, I hope.
Wada Koretake is at Amagasaki Castle.
And what about Mitsumune?
His people are exhausted and hungry, but they will fight.
You may as well sacrifice them. There must be a peaceful solution.
You confused me for my father, Yaya. I never wanted peace. Not until we take back what's ours. Not until Wada Koretake is dead. Naoe, are you ready to finish what we started?
I need some time before going to war.
Ah, Naoe, are you ready to fight Wada Koretake?
I need some time before going to... If I'm seen, I'll have to fight my way out.
They have disappeared. Come on out! Come quickly and help me! Not this time. No mercy. Run off. I'll slit your throat. Again.
Deal with you. I will cut you down. Yeah. I'll put you down.
This is where you die. I'll pound this right up. Your head is mine. I will not bend to you. I do not fear death. I don't see that must be stopped. Think you can best me?